So, Hysteria is a brand new Peacock original series. Not only did they release this, but they also released Teacup. As the difference here, though, is that Teacup got released 2 episodes per week for
Hmm.
4 weeks. This one got dropped all at once. Now, this was almost a month ago now, but we got to it when we got to it.
Yeah.
Now this has quite a few familiar faces for sure. The
Mm-hmm.
big one, of course, being Bruce Campbell. Now, for
Woo.
anyone who was wondering if Bruce Campbell is actually like in this show and isn't just like some glorified cameo, I can confirm that he is a major character of the show, and I
Yes.
don't know why he was given the like special guest star Bruce
Yeah.
Campbell in every episode. He would have worked in the opening credits. This, if I was to liken it to anything, he's kind of like the Jim Hopper of Stranger Things. It's about that much screen time. He's a major character. He's the sheriff of the town who's investigating all of the happenings and the goings ons. As far as what the show's about, we have a metal band, which is a trio of kids who go to high school, and they want to be popular. They want their band to take off, to be noticed. And of
Yes.
course, the lead guitarist is in love with the girl that's completely out of his league, out of his reach. But she's got a secret. Her secret is that she really loves metal and Satan. And so, to impress the girl, he talks his friends into being in a cult
Yep.
where they play satanic music and get everyone together to do satanic things. And of course, this creates hysteria in the
Yes.
town. Um, the thing that's really cool about this show is that, you know, I should have probably gathered this from the title,
Mm.
but I thought going into this that this would be like Deathgasm. That's what I was expecting from this show, and it's definitely nothing like that. Like, it has some similarities, right? Like with the obsession with metal and the kids and whatever, but this very much leaves things ambiguous and open for interpretation on if they're supernatural or not,
Yes.
which I really liked because obviously what we're dealing with here is satanic panic. That would have been an apt title for this show as well, as Satanic Panic, because
Yeah.
that's exactly what this is. This is all the parents freaking out. And because they're freaking out, because there's a mass hysteria going on here, they think that they're developing this or they're seeing that, and that's kind of the fun of the show. And we'll get into the pros and the cons and whatnot. Lastly, what I'll say is that we've got a few familiar faces here. The main kid is the main kid from Krampus. You got Millie Shapiro in here from Hereditary. She
Yeah.
plays Charlie in Hereditary. She has a fairly, she's a secondary
Yeah.
character, but she has enough screen time.
Definitely.
You've got Garrett Dillahunt here from quite a few things, but I know him from Fear the Walking Dead. He plays John Dory. You've also got Julie Bowen in here, who's another major character, who I know from Happy Gilmore. She plays Virginia Vinnett. And Happy Gilmore 2 is currently filming, which I'm actually somewhat excited for, even though comedy sequels typically don't fare very well. I am still looking forward to that because I fucking love Happy Gilmore. And she plays the mom of our main character guy here. Overall, I did like the show quite a bit. I always was interested in everything that was happening. I have my negatives, and I have some things that I want to shine a light on in the positives as well. But what do you think?
Yeah, overall I think I had a pretty good time with it. I feel like we were like enjoying the drama. There's definitely like a lot of teen drama going on,
Yeah.
which is just it's fun. It's very dramatic at times. And I liked the vibe overall. I like the 80s vibe. I think that there was a good attempt and like success at recreating like some 80s outfits, like hair and makeup and stuff.
Yeah.
I really liked the metal music that's in this as well. I think that was fun. I like the band. I like the way they sound. The vocalist, the like Jordy. I really loved her voice. I thought it was cool that she was singing. And yeah, I don't know. I like you had like we had talked about like the fact that it's like hysteria. I think that it's cool that it's kind of an ambiguous like whether it's supernatural or not. Like I think if you watch the show, there's a few scenes that you might see and think immediately like that's for sure supernatural. But when we talked about it, I also feel like you can explain it with hysteria
Absolutely.
because of the power of people's minds and like mob mentality ultimately.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, I have some gripes for sure, but nothing that was super, over the top that would make me not enjoy the show.
Another like pro of the show for me for sure is that with some of these other shows that we watched, whether it was Grotesquerie or Teacup, that we thought was going to be like this one off. The good thing about Hysteria is that this feels like a completed story that leaves room open for another season if
Yeah.
necessary, and even maybe like Kaylee had suggested after, maybe we'll deal with a different town that has a different hysteria in a second season if they were to do one. So
Hmm.
you could leave this off here where it's at, and it feels like a completed story that could continue if necessary. But everything they set up in this season is completely explored and finished by the end of it, which I really appreciated
Yeah,
because
me
with
too.
Grotesquerie, I for sure thought that was one season when we were
Right.
watching it. And holy shit, do we not get any answers to anything by the end of that? Same thing
Yeah.
with Teacup. And it was like, okay, I guess like it's a TV series. And with TV series, they are always trying to make them into multiple seasons. That's makes it successful and, whatnot. So like it's to be expected, but I don't know. I do really appreciate limited series at the same time because you get to kind of get in, get out with these and feel like you just watched a longer movie as opposed to like the running series that go on forever. As long as they
Mm.
present enough intrigue, right? But if they stretch themselves out too long, it depends on the concept, right? I think that's what it comes down to. When you're dealing with concepts that don't feel like they need to be explored in more than one season, and we leave it to a place where it's like, oh my god, are we going to really try to go like 4 or 5 seasons of this? Like this story does not really lend itself to 5 seasons. Like this
Right.
doesn't seem like there's enough to go on here. So with this one, I was very happy to see, and that's the mentality of like a film too, right? Like where you want to feel resolution
Hmm.
in the film you're watching and maybe set up something that could potentially expand later on for like leave some like thread or some intrigue in the end, and to see it wrapped up enough here in the end was nice.
Yeah, yeah. I agree. I agree. I like that it's left open enough for potential,
Yeah.
but it was satisfying.
Yeah.
And yeah, I think that's very important. Um yeah, I mean as far as like the like things that I didn't like about this show, I found like some of the believability of like why characters would continue doing
Yeah.
something a little bit much. I
Yeah.
think you can be like, well, they're dumb teenagers and like that's just it, but at the same time I do feel like there's certain things that are asked of a character that would just be such a huge red flag, like no matter what it was that you wanted.
I
So
think this isn't really much of a spoiler because it is the whole driving force of the show. What she's getting at is that the main character here, he's obsessed with this cheerleader chick, and he'll do literally anything
yes.
for her, and it does push the believability to the nth degree.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, I get it. Like she's absurdly good looking. Like Kaylee was
Yeah.
like, actually, like, there's no way this girl hasn't had plastic surgery. Why is her face so
She
perfect?
has such perfect symmetry.
Yeah, she's incredible looking. There's no doubt about it. And I understand that guys would go further the hotter a chick is to them, they're
Right.
gonna go further. But there's a line for everybody, and I feel like it's crossed so many times that you're like, bro, I get it, but I don't get it.
Yeah,
Like,
yeah.
come on. At this point, And it's not only just him, but you're also asked to believe that she thinks he's going
Right.
along
That's
with
the
it.
other
And
side of
it's
the
so
coin. That
obvious that
was
he's not really
he,
into it.
yeah, he's so unsure, and there's so many moments of just like he's very clearly doubting things. And I don't know, she's not a dumb character, so yeah,
No,
that's what makes it hard to believe that she wouldn't
no.
pick up on that, especially because her character is like a popular girl who, like, her whole thing is social, like, interaction, you
Hmm.
know. So she would instantly like have that radar for like when people are being
She would see he was a
fake.
poser
Yes. Yeah. So that's
instantaneously.
definitely, I think, like the biggest problem I have with the show. Um because otherwise I like everything else. I
I
like all the other like side stories, but
I
it's
don't I don't think that's enough though, because I think it's true not only of those two characters but of almost every child, like teenager character in the show. There's like a whole bunch of people who join the cult and I'm just not buying it.
well, yeah, I was actually gonna say like it kind of falls with them as well.
Yeah.
Because it is just like, I don't know, it's a bit unbelievable. And the other thing actually that I know we both were annoyed with is that we were not fans of the friend dynamic of the main three characters, the band
No.
members.
They're shitty
We
friends.
really didn't like how they acted with each other, which like is fine. Characters don't have to have, like, they can act however, of course, towards each other, but it does make it a bit hard to maybe like buy into their connection or their friendship, since it just, I don't know, there were times that it felt very strained and weird, but that it wasn't supposed to feel that way.
Yeah.
So I don't know, that was the other part that I think we both had problems with.
I forgot to mention, I can't believe I forgot to mention this. I'm so glad that I remembered right now because this is probably the biggest surprise by far for me when it came to like actors that were in this
Oh
and that I
yes.
didn't mention. I would have been so mad at myself had I not mentioned this because this is the most exciting person in the show for me to see. And they're also another major character, which is the main character's father, played
Yeah.
by Nolan North, as a huge Naughty Dog obsessee. uh you know, not only do I love The Last of Us, but I also love Uncharted, and Nolan North is the voice and mocap behind Nathan Drake. So I would be very upset with myself if I didn't mention that. So it was very cool to see Nolan North actually, like, you know, in live action as in a major role like this. So anyway, that was very cool.
Yeah, that was cool.
So yeah, I mean, I think the writing in this show definitely needed to be rewritten. Like, I
Mm.
think that we needed to take another rewrite or two on making things believable, because there's ways to do it. There's ways to develop characters to show why a character would fall in or out of this, right? Like, when, because like if you take Stranger Things season 4, and everyone's kind of having the satanic panic in that season with Eddie Munson playing D&D,
Yeah.
and you know, Chrissy ends up dying, and Jason, her boyfriend, is kind of leading a mob eventually, but also his friends before that, to go find him and take him down, and there's this kind of mass hysteria that's going on. That's all very earned, and we take the time, and that season's only 9 episodes. This season's 8 episodes right now. Granted, a couple of those episodes are really fucking long, but regardless, that's not all we're dealing with in that season. As to where this is all we're dealing with in this
Yeah.
show is just like if we were doing the Eddie storyline only. And I just feel like if you could flesh out characters, because, you know, at the end of the day, I don't really know a whole hell of a lot of our characters that we're dealing with. Like, the reason the friend dynamic doesn't work between the core three is because I don't know fuck all about their drummer. You
Yeah.
know, he's like supposed to be the comedic relief, kind of. He's like got the quippy one-liners, and he's supposed to have the nonchalant like attitude of like, ah, whatever, bro. And then his friend, the girl, the lead singer, she is supposed to be like the voice of reason and the hard-nosed one who has the tough love attitude towards him and says it how it is, right? And just they come off as not good friends. Like
Mm.
the every time that they're together and he makes any decision, they are always like they're I don't know, they never seem to be his friend. But we're
Yeah.
also like that's not the point of it. We're supposed to connect with them because like when we get to the end of the show, it's their friendship that is at the forefront of their like mission and how they're going to
Yeah, the
successfully.
resolution of
Yeah.
everything.
And it's like that's not earned to me because
Yeah.
I don't like them as friends. I
Right.
actually think his friends are fairly shitty to him throughout,
Yeah.
and I never buy that they're really that good of friends.
Yeah.
So that hurts for sure. Plus the believability of everything going on, character motivations and whatnot. I think had we strengthened those character dynamics and character development with those characters, because there was some kind of relationship going on with our lead singer girl and
Mm.
some other girl in town, that's not really fully resolved or like fleshed out, even though they set up something like it is. But I don't think that really goes anywhere.
Mm.
Then the drummer kind of has something going for a second with Millie Shapiro's character. That never goes anywhere. I don't know, man. And then we have the football player character who's supposed to be like the jock badass,
Yeah.
like bully guy. His character kind of goes somewhere, but it feels like it isn't completely earned
Yeah.
because we don't really have a whole lot of character arc for him either. Because and that's the other thing. I think my biggest issue in the end is like everything is a little too neatly wrapped up too
Mm.
easily. And there's things that happen in the very end that I was like, that's it? You're just gonna do that? And that's okay, that's that, huh? So we're keeping things vague here, but it doesn't sound like I liked the show because I'm giving so many negatives towards so many aspects
That's
of the
okay.
show.
Yeah.
But none of them were horrible. They were
No.
all just kind of
No.
like, these could use work.
Yeah,
So
they
they
were
were
just like
like,
things that we would talk about.
they were like fine. Like all the
Yeah.
things I'm saying were like okay. But in order for this show to be great, for this
Yeah.
show to be on the level that I would want it to be at, for me to be sitting here being like, you got to get on this, make it your next
Right.
show, you'd have to fix all those issues. Right now, I think it's worth a watch if you like the premise of a town kind of falling into hysteria over a
Mm-hmm.
metal band. Of course, our main antagonists here are the religious zealots, obsessive. Satan is bad. He's in everything. We've got to take down all the things. That shit. The satanic panic of the 80s. They're the villainous characters, and most of it's portrayed through one of the characters' moms, who
Mm-hmm.
leads the charge of everything. Everything with her, all that stuff was good. Her performance is fantastic. She's an
Yes.
absolute loon.
Yeah, she really is.
Plays it super super well. So probably the best performance in the series.
I think
Um,
so.
so yeah, solid there. But where it ends up with her, I'd say maybe that's the most like um developed, because we do
Mm.
get her backstory, we do get a lot of motivation, we do get a lot of character development. I'd say she probably has the most interesting
Mm.
development, and it probably the most successful development. That being said, the very very end of her character is there's this moment with her and another character, and I just didn't find that to work because I'm like, I don't understand how we get from here to here when your last interaction was so poor.
Yeah,
What? So I don't know. I just feel like the writing needed work.
I agree.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So anyway, I'm rambling.
it's okay.
I just I'm doing it spoiler free is really hard. We
It
probably
is
should have just
hard.
done spoiler discussion because whatever it is, what it is. Um, but yeah, I liked it.
I do too.
I didn't love it. I wish
Right.
I did,
It was
but
it was fine. It was a good watch. It was entertaining enough.
Yeah, it's worth a
So,
one-time watch.
especially if you're a fan of Bruce Campbell and like want to see him in something new.
Hmm.
So,
Yeah. So if you check it out, it's all on Peacock currently, and whether or not we'll ever get a season 2, I'm gonna probably say no.
yeah,
But that's okay
that's fine.
because it doesn't need one, right? As to where with Teacup, if it gets canceled, oh boy, right? Like it leaves off on a massive cliffhanger. Nothing is answered. Same
Yeah.
thing with Grotesquerie. If these shows, like when you leave these first seasons open ended like this, like that open ended, it's
And
like,
then it gets
oh boy,
canceled. Yeah.
you better commit to at
Yes.
least 2 seasons or something, so that if it doesn't go well, you make the second season and close it,
Right.
right? Because if you're going to leave a big cliffhanger like that and get people to sit through, 8, 10, 20, 25 episodes, depending on the show, man, you better commit to something because it is super messed up to take like hundreds of thousands, if not millions of people down a road and then just be like, like, we're not finishing it.
It's not great.
Not great. Anyway, all right. So if you watched it, let us know. If you plan to check it out, let us know. We'll see you in the comments. Adios.
Bye.